given that I love one-on-one, a lot of it was like raising my rates to a level that some people think is insane.
Since you've had kids, I'd love to know what kind of new systems you've had to build into your business or levers that you felt were like, wow, I didn't realize that I should really pull this lever in my business in order to maximize my time and still be able to grow and scale and maintain, your level of professionalism.
hmm So honestly, I think for me, a lot of it's more around cutting stuff because I'm a bit of a maximalist. Like I'm just like, before I had kids, I mean, I love working. So for better or worse, I can get a little bit overly excited and do all these things and like build all this stuff and just do the most, right? And so when I had my first child, that got, a bit of a rude awakening to be like, nope, not doing that anymore. And at that time, I had a mastermind I was running, and I had to pull that off of my offer list because I had three major offers. They were all group programs, and it was very high touch, right? And so I had to pull that offer out of my suite. And then when I got pregnant with my second, who's now just about a year old, that was another wall I hit. I was like, I'm pregnant with a toddler. I cannot be so heavily involved with my clients in so many different ways in multiple different programs, talking about multiple different things. Just the level of complexity was not going to work for that new circumstance in my life. So when I was pregnant, and then when I had my second daughter, I narrowed it down to one offer, right? And so we were running that for the last year. And then over the last year, I realized that even with one offer, if I'm trying to solve too many problems for too many people within one offer, it's causing the same problem that, having multiple offers was causing, just maybe not quite so much of a problem, but it's still a problem.
Also, I see being a parent or being busy or whatever else you're doing in your life as being an advantage because then you're forced to look at the business strategically and say, I can only spend my time on the things that are pushing us forward, and I cannot spend my time on low leverage tasks. And so it forces you to really restructure the business and say, like, this thing that we added on, this thing that we're doing, it really isn't changing the bottom line or doing much for us from an energy perspective. So let's go ahead and cut it, right? Let's just take that out completely. And then also forces you to build in some operations and systems, right? When I first started my business, I was just like really messy. I am not an organized person to begin with. And then I was just going after everything. And so everything was everywhere. I had no systems in place, no SOPs, no strategy around really what I was doing. And when, it got to a point where I was like, okay, now I have X amount of clients and I'm draining from my own family life and taking from my family life to meet with these people. It made me rethink, okay, how can I structure this in a way that is going to maximize my ability to serve my clients, make more revenue, grow the business, but then also feel like I can come home and, like you said, have the energy to be with my kids and feel like I did a job well done and not feel like, oh my gosh, everything I'm doing is burning up, right?
Yeah, yeah. Well, and it's funny because I think a lot of times people can get very busy because they're avoiding doing the things that are scary, right? It's like they don't want to show up on social media. So they're like, I'm just going to like dabble in Canva right now for the next 2 hours or something. And listen, I love Canva, so no shade for like Canva. But it's like when you have
Yeah.
kids and it's like, well, I could be like changing graphics in Canva, or I could be like making memories with my children. It's like
Right.
I'm not going to be doing the stuff that's not really that important for the business. So I think for me, like given that I love one-on-one, a lot of it was like raising my rates to a level that some people think is insane. Like some people are like, "Oh my gosh, you charge 1,000 an hour for your consulting?" And I'm like, "Yes, I do because I literally can only take a few consulting calls a week and the math has to math, right? I'm not going to be like skipping out on making memories with my kids because I'm grinding away at like, $200 an hour sessions when my work is worth 5 times that at least." So I like to talk about money because I think women like need to hear this from other women where it's like, you can charge these amounts and it's okay, right? And so for me, a lot of it was like everything had to make sense. So it had to be a client I was excited about. I don't work with people just because they want to pay me. I'm like, no, we need to be an aligned fit. I've said no to plenty of people that I'm just like, that's not what I want to be doing. the amount of money has to make sense. And then the boundaries around how the client is served has to make sense. And luckily, I have amazing one-on-one clients who are very happy to, make that work for them. A lot of them are moms, so they get it and they don't want to be like talking nonstop during the week. And so I think just like knowing what's important to you and realizing you can probably do whatever you want as long as you're just clear about what it is that you want. That's what has to be created. And I don't think there's no business model that's uniquely better for moms, but I do think moms, especially with younger kids, like your energy is so, just for a variety of reasons, it's a hot commodity. And like whatever you're doing in your business either has to give you energy or be somewhat energetically neutral. If it is just draining the life out of you, it's not worth it, even if it's one of the main ways you make money.
Hey, sorry to interrupt, but if you are a health or wellness professional and you haven't yet checked out The Wellness Vault, you're missing out. The Wellness Vault is a content hub for coaches who create their own plans and programs for their clients, run workshops, create digital guides, and so much more. You can now do all of this in a fraction of the time so you can focus on your clients and grow your business faster than ever with more you time. The link to The Wellness Vault is in the show notes, so go sign up for your free trial today. Thank you for watching this short clip. To watch or listen to this episode in its entirety, view the description below. See you next time.